schmuck? His wife's missing. Looks like kidnapping. Dead for all we know. Press is crawling all over it. It's on the tube right now, Channel 6. Check it out.
Many more questions and answers at this hour surrounding the apparent abduction of Santa Fe socialite and businesswoman Miranda Tasker. Her husband Martin Tasker and server Manuel Oroso heard screams late last night. When they went to investigate, Miranda Tasker was gone. Tasker refused to speculate on who might be behind any apparent foul play or whether his wife's disappearance might be connected to last week's arson blaze at her upscale leather goods store. No one has been charged in that crime. In recent weeks, Martin Tasker has been under attack by local Native American activists who've been protesting his plans to expand the Seven Arrows ski resort. Channel 6 viewers will recall some 30 Indian families being evicted from their homes as bulldozers moved in to make way for timeshare condos and a new $5.5 million lodge. Soon after our arrival early this morning, Channel 6 spoke exclusively to Martin Tasker, who appealed to the party or parties responsible for his wife's abduction. Can we roll that?
I just want to say that whoever's behind this, I don't care. I just want my wife back. And if anybody has any information about her whereabouts, about what happened last night, I am prepared to pay $100,000 for information that would lead to her safe return. And if you can see this, Rhonda, everything's gonna be all right. I promise. I'm sorry, that's all I want to say for right now.
That's it from the Tasker estate as we wait for investigators to arrive. This is Teresa Chavez for KITT Channel 6 News reporting.
Love my dog. But you know what drives me nuts? And I know all you dog lovers out there know exactly what I'm talking about. Dog hair. Dog hair everywhere. On the couch, in the carpet, in the bed, in the duvet. I even get it in my beard, and it drives me nuts. I just want to take Jack and ship him off to the SPCA with no return address. But not
Heading back to headquarters, over.
Copy that, D-52.
Ah, Detective. I was just grousing about you. You know Detective Night Sky here.
Detective?
This won't take very long. There's no point in wasting your time here when you could be wasting it out in the field. You're in overall charge of this investigation. But until you get your bearings, I've asked Night Sky to conduct the interrogations. I'm also assigning a Sergeant Rebecca Orlando to help you out. She'll be running down alibis for you. Now, right now, we don't have very much. We have as much as the reporters at the scene do. We got no suspects, no ransom demands, and no apparent motive. I emphasize apparent, detectives. Tasker's not exactly man of the hour around here since he booted those Indians out of their homes.
That doesn't explain why anyone would go after the wife.
Night Sky, tell them about that gadget you got there, that PDA, personal digital...
Assistant. We've been using these in the field. They're great. The chief or the lab can beep us 24 hours a day.
Okay. If you can't figure it out, you just push the help button. Now, fortunately, gadgets are not going to solve this case for us. Now, you got 5 days, detectives. Count them. 5. I've already heard from the suits at the Bureau, and they got about as much confidence in me as I got in you. So your job is to prove us both wrong, all right? Now, go out there, give them hell.
Detective Rebecca Orlando here, reporting for duty. Detectives, forensics will be closing up the crime scene in 7 hours, so you better head over there pronto. You've got 5 days to solve the mystery. Talk to Tasker, he's in the main house. Also, the servant, Manuel Oroso, is in the bungalow to the right. Buena suerte. There's no time to be wasting here in Santa Fe.
D-52, proceeding to Tasker Estate, over.
Copy that, D-52.
I don't know what Chief Weber has told you.
Only that your wife is missing.
Missing? Sounds so benign. If I thought she'd ran out on me, I'd actually be relieved.
Were there problems between you?
No more so than in any marriage. Randa and I were happy. Delirious, really. Last night we celebrated our 3rd anniversary.
Why don't we start there?
Well, it was Randa and I and a small group of friends at the Mesa Cafe.
If we might have their names, please?
Well, there was Randa's friend, Carrie March. I'm sure you know Carrie. Everyone knows Carrie. And my physician, Tom McClafferty. Oh, that reminds me. I need to take my medication. Mark Kennedy. The antique dealer, he was there. And let's see. Oh, yes. Free Tibet. One of Randa's wacko artist friends, her invite, not mine. And things were going along fine until Andrew Grissom showed up.
Another guest?
Hardly. Andrew Grissom is a disgruntled investor. We met at the Arroyo Club. I'm afraid to say that their standards are not what they used to be. Anyway, Andrew invested in Tasker Industries, misplayed his hand, and now he blames me for it. Anyway, he shows up at the restaurant, begins to shout at me, and then he wants to deck me until the maitre d' throws him out. Oh, by the way, Free was running her new video camera. Maybe she picked it up on tape.
And you left the restaurant at what time?
Around 11:15 or so, because I know we were at home by 11:30. Randa wanted to go swimming. She asked if I would join her, and I passed. And she went down to the pool alone.
What was she wearing?
Well, just a terry cloth robe and sandals.
And what happened next?
Well, I read for a few minutes and must have fallen asleep. Because the next thing I know, I hear this horrific scream from the pool area. Now, I was a little disoriented, so it took me a few minutes to get down there. When I did, I heard the car screeching away. The gate was open, and Randa was gone.
Did your wife ever use drugs?
Just alcohol.
Can you think of anyone who might have wanted to hurt your wife, or you for that matter?
Business I'm in, Detective, you make enemies, like drunks make water. But Randa, no. Everyone loved her.
What about the arson incident at her leather goods store? Could there be a connection?
God only knows.
And your own enemies?
No secret that a bunch of blowhards are up in arms about the 7 Arrows deal.
Blowhards? Is that another way of saying Native Americans?
Now that's a crock. I have given more work to the Native American than anyone else in Santa Fe. No, I'm talking about that half-cocked group of activists, like that legal aid lawyer, Dan Longfoot. Now that man has publicly threatened me.
If this was a kidnapping, Mr. Tasker, there might be an extortion attempt. I want you to keep us informed, understood?
Of course. And if you hear anything, you'll let me know.
You bet. Your name and occupation, please?
Manuel Oroso. For the last 5 years, I've been Senor Tasker's manservant.
Tell us about last night.
Last night, I was in my room watching television. It was around 11:30 when the movie was almost over, and Senor Tasker came in. I went to them and asked them if there was anything that I could do for them, and they said no, that they would see me in the morning. Then they began to argue. I couldn't understand the words, but it was very loud. They argue a lot.
Were you aware that Mrs. Tasker went for a swim about midnight?
No, you see, my room is very far away in the east wing of the house.
Did you hear any screams?
No, Senor Tasker did. I was watching the television when he began to buzz me and very excitedly screaming at me to meet him down at the pool. Well, I of course rushed right to the pool, and when I got there, he was already there. And we searched for Senora Tasker, but we couldn't find her. The gate was open.
Was that unusual?
See, Senor Tasker was very afraid of intruders, so he always made sure the gate was locked.
Who has keys to the gate?
Well, I do, and Senora Tasker, and Senor Tasker, of course, and Dr. McClafferty, in case of an emergency.
How many dogs are out in the kennel area?
2, very loud.
So I noticed. Were they barking last night?
Last night? Not that I recall.
If there had been an intruder, wouldn't they have barked?
Not necessarily. Sometimes they bark, and sometimes they don't. They're not really watchdogs, senor.
Thanks for your help, Mr. Oroso.
I hope they find the senora okay.
Yeah.
We dusted for fingerprints on the key override to the gate mechanism. The prints were an index finger and a partial thumb, and they matched those of Martin Tasker, which he volunteered to give us the day after his wife disappeared. Also, there were no signs of forced entry, no scuff marks on the gate or the walls surrounding the area.
D-52, we're on our way to see Thomas McClafferty. Over.
Okay, D-52, copy.
Is there any news on Randa?
Nothing so far. We're talking to everyone who might help us.
Naturally, I'll do what I can.
If you'd be good enough to give us your name and occupation for the record.
Thomas McClafferty. I am a doctor in private practice here on Old Santa Fe Trail.
You've been Martin Tasker's personal physician for how long?
Well, going back to our association in Boston, I'd say almost 8 years.
And you both came out to Santa Fe at the same time?
Well, Martin offered to help set up my practice here if I made the move with him.
Isn't that a little unusual?
Well, you have to understand that Martin's a little obsessive about his health and, as a rule, a little leery of the medical profession.
Is that a nice way of saying he's a hypochondriac?
Your word, Detective, not mine.
I understand the Taskers argued a lot.
Well, Martin has been under severe financial pressure. I mean, I'm sure he's told you about Vesco.
Never heard the name.
What, George Vesco, the man running 7 arrows for Martin? Or perhaps I should say running it into the ground would be a more apt description. I mean, as I understand it, 7 arrows is a page or two away from Chapter 11. My own theory is Vesco's been embezzling. Too much money disappearing too quickly.
What time did you leave the Mesa Cafe the other night?
Well, I stayed there until after the other guests left, sipping brandies until about 12:45. I took a cab home.
You've got a key to the gate at the Tasker estate, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And to the front door as well. I mean, Martin insisted on it.
One last thing, Doctor. What kind of medication is Mr. Tasker on?
He's on a vasodilator for his heart. Nitroglycerin. Tridel's the trade name.
Nothing injectable?
Absolutely not.
Thanks. We'll let you know if we have any more questions.
Hey, if you get any news on Randa, please, I would appreciate a call.
Have you two come up with anything yet? I'm getting heat you wouldn't believe. And I don't know what kind of conditions this woman's being kept under. Now get your butts into high gear now.
D-52, heading to White Buffalo. Over.
10-4.
The fire's cause was definitely suspicious. The SFPD notified the downtown fire department after receiving reports of smoke in the White Buffalo from the cafe down the street. The report shows that the disposal of rags soaked in quicklime, glycerin, and potassium permanganate cause a fire, which oxidize and combust spontaneously. Also, the sprinklers didn't initially work because the water in the building was turned off. Supposedly, the plumbing had to be fixed. The damage to the building was substantial: telephone lines, the walls, and ceiling. The insurance company representatives examined the damage yesterday, and they plan to continue today.